Death is the inevitable end that looms over all of us. It pervades every corner of the universe and lingers in every moment we experience. From the smallest microbe to the largest star, everything that has ever existed is marching toward its final cessation. The question of death is not a matter of if, but when. Every day, every second, something dies. A plant wilts in the sun, an animal succumbs to hunger, a person passes in their sleep. Death does not discriminate, and it does not wait. It is the ultimate equalizer, affecting all forms of life, from the most insignificant to the most magnificent. Death is everywhere. In the very moment that we sit here contemplating it, life is slipping away somewhere else. The death of a human, the falling of a tree, the quiet cessation of a bird's heartbeat. Each of these moments is a reminder that life is fragile, and death is constant. We may not always be aware of it, but death is an integral part of the world we live in. The sun sets, and the day dies, never to return. A conversation ends, a relationship changes, and something within us dies. It's not just the biological aspects of life that are subject to death. Our experiences, our memories, and even our identities are constantly in flux, dying and being reborn with each passing moment. Even the moments we cherish the most are fleeting. A perfect sunset, a tender moment with a loved one, the exhilaration of achieving a goal. These experiences, though beautiful, are temporary. They are born in a moment, and they die just as quickly. And once they are gone, they can never be relived in the same way. The novelty of that moment is lost forever. We can remember it, we can cherish it, but we can never experience it again in its original form. In this sense, death is not just about the end of life. It is about the end of moments, the passing of time, the loss of what once was. But perhaps the most profound expression of death is found in the conflicts that rage both outside and within us. The world is full of war, violence, and destruction. Nations fight for power, resources, and ideology, leaving behind a trail of death and suffering. In these wars, lives are lost, families are torn apart, and entire communities are wiped out. Death is everywhere in the physical sense, as bullets fly and bombs explode. But there is also a war within each of us, a war between our desires and our fears, our hopes and our doubts. This internal battle can be just as destructive as any external conflict. It kills our dreams, our innocence, and our peace of mind. Yet, in the face of this omnipresent death, there is hope. While we may not be able to stop death, we can prevent unnecessary suffering. Just because death is inevitable doesn't mean that suffering has to be. We can choose to live in a way that minimizes harm, both to ourselves and to others. We can care for those who are suffering, offer support to those who are grieving, and live with compassion and kindness. In doing so, we can create a world where death, while still a reality, is not met with fear and pain but with peace and acceptance. Resilience is key to this. Death may be everywhere, but we do not have to be consumed by it. We can cultivate the strength to endure the challenges of life, knowing that death is a part of the journey. This resilience allows us to face death without fear and to live fully in the time that we have. It is a reminder that, while death may be inevitable, life is still worth living. By finding peace within ourselves, we can approach death with a sense of calm, knowing that we have lived our lives to the best of our abilities. As we live each day, we experience small deaths. Every day, we lose something: a moment, an opportunity, a connection. These small deaths are a reminder of the bigger death that is to come. But rather than living in fear of this final death, we can choose to embrace life. We can savor the moments we have, appreciate the beauty of the present, and find joy in the simple things. By doing so, we transform the experience of life from one of fear and anxiety to one of peace and fulfillment. One of the most powerful ways to resolve our relationship with death is through acceptance. We cannot stop death, no matter how hard we try. But we can accept it. This doesn't mean resigning ourselves to our fate. It means finding peace with the reality of death. When we accept death, we free ourselves from the fear that often accompanies it. We can stop trying to outrun it and instead focus on living. This acceptance allows us to live more fully, to take risks, to love deeply, and to embrace life with all its challenges and joys. Cultivating mental fortitude is another way to resolve death. This means developing the strength of mind to face death without fear or regret. It means knowing that we have done our best, that we have lived our lives in a way that aligns with our values, and that we have made a positive impact on the world. When we approach death with this mindset, it becomes less of a threat and more of a natural part of life. We may not be able to stop death, but we can face it with dignity and grace, knowing that we have lived well. But what does it mean to live well? It means more than just existing. It means engaging with life in a meaningful way, finding purpose, and creating a legacy that will live on after we are gone. This legacy doesn't have to be grand. It can be as simple as the love we leave behind, the kindness we show to others, or the memories we create with those we care about. In this way, even though death may be everywhere, we can still make a positive impact on the world. Transcending death is not about avoiding it, but about embracing life in a way that allows us to approach death with a sense of peace. This doesn't mean ignoring the reality of death. It means finding a way to live in harmony with it. We can choose to live with a smile, knowing that we have done our best, that we have made a difference, and that we have found meaning in our lives. This smile is not one of denial, but one of deep understanding and acceptance. It is a smile that comes from knowing that death is not the end, but simply a part of the larger cycle of life. In the end, death is everywhere, but so too is life. The two are intertwined, inseparable, and essential to the existence of the universe. Without death, life would have no meaning, no urgency, no value. It is the knowledge that our time is limited that pushes us to live fully, to take risks, to love deeply, and to make the most of every moment. Death may be everywhere, but it is life that truly matters. And in the face of death, we can choose to live with purpose, with joy, and with peace. We do not need to fear death. Instead, we can embrace it as a part of life's journey. We can live in a way that honors both life and death, finding balance between the two. By accepting death, we free ourselves to live more fully, more authentically, and more meaningfully. In doing so, we transcend the fear of death and embrace the beauty of life. While death might be lurking in every corner, we can take actions to mitigate its hold over us. We don't have to view death as the ultimate source of despair. Rather, it can serve as a reminder of the preciousness of every single moment we have. Perhaps more than fearing the end, we should fear the moments left unlived. In this sense, death can motivate us to live life with greater intention and purpose. We often take for granted the everyday experiences, the mundane tasks, and the time we spend with those we love. Knowing that everything will one day fade can push us to appreciate those little moments more deeply. Each breath we take brings us closer to our end, yet each breath also brings life. There's a certain beauty in this paradox. The closer we are to death, the more we can appreciate life. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle of the world, to become overwhelmed by the noise, the pressures, and the chaos. But in the end, none of it truly matters. What matters is the impact we leave behind, the love we share, and the experiences that shape us. The idea of mental fortitude also plays a critical role in how we navigate the reality of death. It's not about ignoring the fear of death, but about building the inner strength to carry on despite it. Some might look at death and feel powerless, but developing a mindset that sees death as a natural progression allows us to face it without succumbing to dread. It's a shift in perspective, where death no longer becomes the enemy but a companion, walking beside us as we journey through life. For some, religion and spirituality offer solace in the face of death. The belief in an afterlife, a higher power, or reincarnation can provide a framework that gives meaning to both life and death. Even those who do not subscribe to any specific belief system can find comfort in the idea that, while we may physically cease to exist, the energy we have put into the universe, our thoughts, actions, and love continues to ripple through the cosmos. Whether you believe in a literal afterlife or see death as a return to the earth, there is peace in knowing that nothing is ever truly gone. Death is everywhere, but we are not alone in facing it. We have each other. Just as life is shared, so too is death. We are born alone, and we die alone, but in between. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the paradoxes of life. If you found this video thought-provoking, give it a like and share it with others who might enjoy unraveling these mysteries. Don't forget to subscribe for more content exploring the edges of existence. Until next time, question everything and keep exploring your own destiny. Take care. Bye-bye.